Hello there, everyone, and welcome to GamePoints episode 242, your weekly little get-together. We talk about recent gaming news. I'm, as always, your host, Stephen Brandon. Joining me today is...
I'm David.
Tonight, David, we have to go over the fact that Twitch's DMCA issues are keeping them from actually promoting Fortnite at this point, and an hilarious story of what happened today. Yuri Geller lifts his Pokemon ban. We'll talk about details about that, and more Americans are playing games than ever before. We have some theories as to why. I want to get into that, about why that could be. But first, I want everyone here to know that this is an audience interactive podcast. So if you're watching here live at Twitch TV/GamePoints or later over at YouTube.com/GamePointsPC, to feel free to join in the conversation. Any questions, comments, concerns, etc. you might have, please let us know in the chats provided. Of course, try to keep them germane to the topic on hand. David.
Yes.
I think we both hopped back on that Destiny 2 train again. Is that safe
a little
to
bit.
say?
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to play that new raid yet?
No, I have not played the raid yet.
See, I haven't either.
I don't play MMOs at the rate that people do because I will bounce off of them and then never play them again.
Yeah, I can't. So, I can't go. I need to grind out 100 hours in 1 week to get this weapon that I'm never going to use. It's not for me.
You can't do that. I will play a few hours, a few days a week.
Yeah, I'll play 2 or 3 hours, 3 days a week, and then I'm done. But
I think I'm just above like 1200 light, really.
I think I'm like 1220 to be raid ready. I think you need 1230, so I'm not positive.
I'm not super close, but still having fun. New expansion's interesting enough. I have not been able to find confirmation, but if anybody knows, please tell me. Did they replace the voice actor for Osiris? Because my ears are stupid, and sometimes I can pick these things out. I'm actually really good at finding voice actors and like saying, oh, that's that guy. And when the expansion started and I heard the guy talk, I'm like, that doesn't sound right. Because in the original, like, or what was the Osiris expansion called? I don't remember.
Trials of Osiris.
Okay, Trials of Osiris.
No.
Whenever he was introduced, right?
God damn it, I can't remember now.
The person that does his voice is the actor from the Mummy movies.
The guy that was the Mummy, right?
No, not the guy that was the Mummy. The guy that's the leader of the Magi.
Oh, okay.
You have awakened a creature that we
I remember him too.
I know him too. That guy.
Yeah.
I don't know that guy's name at all, but he was the voice of Osiris. I'm 100% positive. And the new expansion, I don't think it's him. I think it's somebody else doing their best to be him, and it bums me out.
I wouldn't be surprised. I know that various COVID lockdowns have kind of played havoc with voiceover stuff. So if an artist doesn't have an in-home studio, and some of them don't, they're used to just flying to the place to take care of it, they could be problematic getting them in to do things. So I wouldn't be surprised if they changed his voice actor, but by no means am I 100% sure on that. I couldn't tell you. I was never an Osiris fan when it comes to his voice actor. I was just like, oh, okay, he's just some dude on Egypt. I got a couple of characters I really like. Like, for example, I love Zavala, who's voiced by, I think his name's Lance Reddick, who is on Horizon Zero Dawn. He is the Consigliere on the John Wick movies.
Oh, okay.
He was in Quantum Break as, like, Littlefinger's right-hand man. He's been in a lot of shit. So, I like him quite a bit. I know that the Warlock person, Akora Ray, is... Oh my god, I can't remember. Gina Torres? Yeah. Firefly fame. Even though she hasn't been in... She hasn't been in the game in a long time, so I have to wonder if they just kind of wrote off her character. All of her lines are...
Well, because keep in mind that at one point in time, we had more Firefly representation. Because at the start of the game, 2 of the main 3 were...
Yeah, Nathan Fillion was in there, and he's also
from
left,
Firefly.
Too.
And fun fact, Osiris's ghost from that expansion is voiced by Marina Baccarin, who's the...
it's... what's her name? The consort.
Yeah, the lady of the evening.
Companion, that's what they call him.
Thank you. Companion from Firefly.
They killed her off, too. That ghost, I think, is dead.
Probably because she's expensive.
Probably because I think they're trying to move away from bigger names. Or they could just be like, we're done with Firefly references in our game. We want to be on our own standout. Anyways, enough Destiny talk. I just want to kind of start off the show. Let's go ahead and move into what I find the most... The biggest news we've had of the week. And it was a slow week, but this is actually kind of important. And it also touches on a problem that's been going on Twitch TV, right here, a very platform that we're streaming on, for quite a while now. And that's the fact that streamers had to mute the Fortnite Galactus event because of AC/DC. Now, I know that's
No,
a lot of things thrown together. Let me kind of break down what's been going on. Let's start off with the problems that Twitch has been having when it comes to DMCA. A few months back, and even before then, but another round hit a few months back, a bunch of record companies have been laying copyright claims on videos across Twitch that have music in the background. Some streamers like to play music in the background, be it on YouTube or Spotify or Pretzel, etc. Other times, games just have licensed music in them.
Mm-hmm.
And Twitch went through and pulled a bunch of videos down and banned a bunch of people too. With no notification, no warning that they were going to take these videos down, no warning they were going to get banned. They just started pulling them.
Didn't this all happen to YouTube like a year and a half ago?
Yeah, it's hitting Twitch now, but similar idea.
This is just the same thing, right?
Similar idea. What's more egregious, though, in Twitch's case is that they're telling people, hey, if you don't want to get banned, take your videos down. But people are like, I don't have access to those videos anymore because you only save them for like 2 years. But the copyright bots can detect them for years on back. So they're telling people, remove videos from X years ago, and they can't even get, the streamers can't get into it to remove those videos. Furthermore, Twitch will say, hey, you have a strike on one of your videos, but they won't tell them what video it is.
Oh, jeez.
So the only solution is to literally remove, in some streamers' cases, 7 or 8 years worth of content they created. And in some cases, they can't even go back that far because they're like, this video doesn't even exist on my channel anymore, but it's in your server somewhere and it's triggering the copyright claim.
That's actually insane.
Yeah. So it's been a problem, and Twitch's response to these have been laughable. The most laughable one that I can think of is just like, well, what if someone asked, well, what if our game, like Grand Theft Auto, has like licensed music, or if it's something that we can't even turn off? Like sometimes, like Call of Duty had like Rolling Stones in it, for example.
Yeah, or if you're playing a lot of racing games,
yeah.
I'm thinking like any Need for Speed always has licensed music, right? That just plays in the background the whole time.
To which Twitch's response was, well, we just recommend you mute the audio to your game. Like on your end, like just dead silent playing the game.
Yep, that sounds fun.
And
that's what I'm watching Twitch for.
Is still like what people have to do, as evidenced by this giant Fortnite event. Let's bring us what's going on today. Fortnite, arguably only made as big as it is because of Twitch streaming. Let's be real here. Fortnite, I don't think would be nearly as big as it is if you didn't have assholes in front of cameras talking and yelling as they're playing it.
Mm-hmm.
Fortnite has one of their giant in-game events. They've been doing these recently, like the Black Hole event, the virtual consoles they've been having. Well, today they had like a Marvel event where Galactus invades, and you're supposed to stop Galactus. But during the event, a clip from AC/DC's new album played called Demon Fire. Because of the DMCA problems that have been going on Twitch, well, let me go to the article from GameStop here real quick, because they can sum it up faster than I can haphazardly stumble through it. Twitch streamers hoping to get on the Fortnite excitement today faced an unexpected hurdle. Epic Games announced that it had no way of preventing clips from Galactus' event from getting flagged by Twitch's copyright detection systems, and it turns out it was due to use of an AC/DC song. This led to streamers such as Dr. Lupo, a big name on Twitch by the way, temporarily cutting the game's audio in order to avoid encountering any issues. For the Twitch creator streaming the Galactus event, due to a lack of solution similar to Licked, we cannot prevent your VOD clip from getting flagged by the platform's copyright detection system, said a tweet from Epic Games. The general recommendation is to either mute your VODs or turn off the VOD clips entirely to protect yourselves against this kind of claim or strikes as best as possible. Copyright claims have become a major issue for Twitch streamers during this year. Streamers have been receiving many DMCA notifications for playing recorded music in the background of their streams and have been forcibly manually to delete old clips that could possibly arise on Twitch on copyright. I want to add, including being told they have to delete streams they don't have access to, and being told they have a claim, but Twitch will not tell them what video is being claimed.
Yep.
And
so if you've uploaded 2 videos a day, every single day for the last 4 years,
and one of them gets claimed, you got to take it all down.
Yep.
Furthermore, and I think this is actually illegal, but this also falls into the who's going to go to court over this kind of thing. I believe that if you have a DMCA claim against you, you are offered the legal right of reply to it, meaning that you get to know who filed the claim and you get to post up a counter notification. Twitch is not giving people the information of who's claiming these videos. Last time I checked.
Well, because it's probably Twitch themselves with some kind of automated thing that was put in place.
If it's DMC claim against you, I believe, I am not a lawyer, please correct me if I'm wrong, I believe they have to notify you. And Twitch is saying it is a DMCA issue. It is not on us.
Yeah, who knows?
So there's a lot of bullshit on here, but once again, no one on any side anywhere wants to go over to court on this.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's such a gray area and everyone's kind of thriving in this gray area. The problem is, David, this is the biggest game out there, and there's even Epic are like, hey, Twitch is so fucking borked right now. Just mute your audio during a certain part. You'll know when it's coming. They can't even tell you when it's coming because it's supposed to be like a surprise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just
ridiculous. This is unfucking acceptable
Epic
on so many
doesn't care,
levels.
and they've paid for that to be in their game. But this is again the problem of the fact that like music streaming rights and all of that shit don't really work with the way the internet works at this point.
Yeah,
it's the same problem where you have like TV shows that you can watch online, that you can buy digitally on like Amazon or Hulu or YouTube or wherever you buy like movies, TV, and stuff like that, that will have different music than the original show did on television, because while they paid for the music to be in the show, they didn't pay for the rights for the music to stream. So even though you purchased the item, the fact that it's streaming means that you get a weird knockoff version of the audio.
I mean, let's keep it in the realm of games. The most famous thing that I can think of with are Grand Theft Auto, where they had to like delete a lot of their old like Michael Jackson catalog off all their old games, and Alan Wake, which actually got pulled off of Steam for a while as they had to pull out the licensed music that played during the credits and then put something different in and then put it back in there.
Yeah, it's just so weird.
I for a while I was streaming with a bot on, and you could type in YouTube requests and it will find the file and play that music on there. I have to have that all completely turned off right now. I will say, however, a band that we both enjoy, The Midnight, has given 100% okay. It is on their Twitter for any streamer to use their music, and I'll say good on them because I have bought shit from them. I have gone to their concerts, and I didn't even know they existed until I saw another streamer by the name of Alaskan Savage playing them on their channel.
Oh yeah, dude, they're great.
So props to The Midnight. I think Carpenter Burt does the same. I think Gunship does the same. If you're looking for some like synthwave stuff going on there, but I've been just playing them or Pretzel Rocks, which is like a royalty okay streaming service. But I no longer get to have like Stairway of Heaven as I invade Poland on Hearts of Iron anymore playing.
Yeah, you just can't listen to music.
Yeah,
you're not allowed.
And that's. We're talking about this right now. We were mentioning Grand Theft Auto 5 or Grand Theft Auto. What's this going to be like when the inevitable Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out? Because you know they're going to have a banging soundtrack to it, and you know they're going to want people streaming it, but no one's going to come close to streaming it because of that shit.
Because the streaming platforms won't be able to.
Yeah.
So like you just won't have audio in your games, or everybody has to turn all the music off in every game from now on. Is that where we're at?
And what if the new Grand Theft Auto has for example, Grand Theft Auto 5 has a mission in it that plays Genesis? I
was just thinking of Saints Row, where your character starts singing Sublime.
Yeah, I mean, same idea. What do you do about that? I guess I just don't stream those games anymore.
Yep, so stop streaming video games that have music.
It's
really scored.
It's bullshit, and it needs to be addressed. There needs to be some way to work around this.
You know what's fun? I blame, to this day, Metallica.
Yeah. I know exactly why, because of the Napster shit.
And that's what set all of this in motion.
They started this. I remember the stories of, like, the little girl getting fucking sued because she downloaded Happy Birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Because Happy Birthday, believe it or not, you want to know why when someone sings Happy Birthday in a TV show, it always has really weird lyrics? It's because the actual Happy Birthday song is not public domain. It's owned.
It is now. It
was
was not for a very long time. Yeah.
Okay. I am speaking 20 years ago because I'm old as fuck. What was that?
Do you know who owned Happy Birthday?
The Beatles.
Nope. But as famous, like up there musically,
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson.
It's one or the other. It's either the Beatles or Michael Jackson. It really is one or the other, which is all owned by Sony now, or was in that case.
But I think post Michael Jackson, it went to public domain, or they sold it back, or however the hell that.
I know Sony bought up a lot of his catalog. In fact, he had to sell. We're getting way off topic now at this point.
We're just mad because we can't stream video, we can't stream audio in video games. That's ridiculous.
This is so fucking stupid. And there will be a workaround eventually. I know a lot of more companies are starting to put in like the streamer mode on the options where you can click it and it just eats all licensed music. That's a cheap workaround, but it's not something that can last any kind of permanent form.
It also, I think, can make games subjectively worse.
Yes,
because sometimes set piece moments require the music, and I'm gonna again make a Saints Row reference, but dude, Saints Row had some amazing musical tie-ins that would not work with royalty-free music.
The climax of Max Payne 3 is one of the most memorable moments I can think of when you're going through the airport and this song is playing. I can't remember the name song. I think it's called Tears or something like that. And it is so fucking perfect to the tone of that game at that point. And then you also get to go back to
I was gonna say, would we even talk about Mafia 3 if it wasn't for Paint It Black?
No. Which is another great example. The Tour Control during its climax, the fucking Poets of the Fall song that starts blaring out there in the ashtray room. Music is so goddamn important to video games. There's a reason why we all remember the Silent Hill 2 soundtrack. There's a reason why we remember shit like the Metal Gear soundtrack. There's a reason why. There is a goddamn reason why not a single child in America and across the world doesn't know the fucking Mario theme.
Or Tetris.
It's important, and this needs to get resolved because it is actively hindering video game development. But anyways, I think that kind of surrounds it. We have no solution.
Yeah, well, we're not actually helpful at all. We're just letting you guys know that this situation sucks.
But this situation is so bad
we're
that
to bring
it
you the news, not solve the news.
Yeah, this situation is so bad it actively affected arguably the biggest game in the world, Fortnite.
Yep.
So
that's crazy.
There you go. Anyways, let us know what you guys think down in the comments below about this whole situation. Yeah, that's that. It's something that I'm frustrated by, but I don't see a solution to. Dave, why don't you go ahead and lead us off on this hilarious, well, not really hilarious because it might cost people some jobs, but kind of like a told you so moment.
This is a actual continuation because this is a story that has remained true. This is not a story that is a new development. This is a story that is a story because it's still true. So in the story from IGN, Marvel's Avengers has still not recouped its development costs. Marvel's Avengers sales were lower than expected, and the game has not yet recouped its development costs, leading to an estimated 7 billion yen, approximately 67 million USD operating loss in Square Enix HD game segment during the last financial quarter. The company president, Yosuke Matsude, is that how you say that?
I think so. Yosuke Matsude. That sounds about right.
Explained in a newly translated results briefing, sales of Marvel's Avenger were lower than we had expected and unable to completely offset the amortization of the game's development costs. Game analyst David Gibson previously explained that the company sold 60% of its planned units, and the numbers implied the game cost around $100 million to make. So, for those playing the home game, they are still about $33 million in the hole from Marvel's Avengers.
Important to note that all of these numbers that they're mentioning, estimates, guesses, we actually don't know.
Because they'll never release the actual hard numbers.
This $100 million that the game was estimated cost to make is just guesswork from this David Gibson guy. I looked at his work, and he's like kind of taking what someone said here and then what someone said here, and he's like, best guess this. We don't know for certain.
It is an educated person's guess. Yes. I don't even want to say necessarily an educated guess. But
it's not like me making this shit up. This guy does this for a living.
Yes. So it is probably close, but again, that's development cost, which doesn't necessarily translate to marketing costs and any of the other things.
Licensing costs. Who knows how much that Marvel had to, or Square had to pay to get the Marvel license. So
good thing Sony shelled out that extra money to keep Spider-Man exclusive. I bet they got their money's worth.
Sony got paid. They don't care.
That's true.
They don't give one goddamn. Yeah, this is real bad because at least I think Anthem, while we rag on it as being really like just atrocious, still sold pretty well, and I think Anthem at the very least broke even. I'm not positive, but I think Anthem broke even.
I think it actually made a little bit of money.
But with the star power behind this and how long it was in development and the licensing and the marketing and all the shit that added to it, this is one of the Square Enix took a huge hit on here, and it's not good. And I'm really, really worried about a lot of the dev teams that worked on this, specifically the guys that made Deus Ex and all them. I'm really worried that they're not good. They might get shit canned. I'm very concerned about it because Square Enix already has like a bias against their Western developers.
I just feel bad because like neither one of us were excited for this game prior to its release, but we both wanted to be.
Yeah, I played it.
If this game,
it could be good.
I'm like, maybe this game's amazing. Maybe it's not what we think, and we kept looking at it and not being excited, and then it happened, and no one was excited, and that sucks. I don't like to see this.
I agree, and it just because we both looked at this and knew that it seemed to be a train wreck happening doesn't mean we wanted it to be.
Yes, and while we basically just live to make fun of things, we understand that
this shit has real world effects.
Yeah, there's actually people that are involved in this process, and it does suck.
Yeah. Anyways, if you guys have played Marvel's Avengers, let me know if you guys are still playing it, if you're looking forward to anything coming up on it. Just, I want the next story to read about about Marvel Avengers to be them finding success with something, or at least continuing on in some way, shape, or form. Because it's never cool when a game ends.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the guy that's still clicking to wait for that like Anthem turnaround article to pop. I'm like, oh man, here's Anthem 2.0, and we get something because I love the comeback story, right? So
and
I hope that
No Man's Sky, Final Fantasy 14, amazing examples of that.
It's happened. It can happen, but even with the comparison to Anthem made back a lot more of its development cost.
I think that is the case. I'm not positive, but I believe that is true.
No, I think they legit made money.
Okay. David, I'm going to do a hard break into the next topic here, and I want to start off by saying right now, anything that I say about this man, apply the word allegedly in front of it, because he is extremely litigious. But we're going to talk about Uri Geller. Do you know who Uri Geller is, first of all?
Is it a character from Friends?
No, that he is not Ross and Monica's dad.
Okay. Then
Uri Geller was a self-styled psychic and magician who really rose to prominence in the late 70s and early 80s with his spoon bending trick. He was the guy that could bend spoons. I don't know if you
I've seen The Matrix.
Close enough. Well, Uri Geller, the reason why he's in gaming news right now is because Uri Geller finally gave Nintendo permission to print Kadabra on Pokemon cards again. And this story is via The Gamer.
What?
The Gamer.
No, not that part. That's not the part that's confusing.
Okay. Let me give you some background.
Okay.
The psychic-type Pokemon, Kadabra, appeared in the official card game's first set alongside the rest of its evolution line, Abra and Alakazam. So you know how Pokemon have 3 names as they evolve, right? Typically.
Yeah, if it evolves twice, right?
Isn't there like Pikachu, Raichu, and something else, or like Squirtle and Blastos? They had different names as they evolve.
I think they have different numbers of evolutions, but yes, I am following.
Okay. I know almost nothing about Pokemon, so bear with me. It returned sets in its different forms, such as Dark Kadabra of Team Rocket Gym Leader Sabrina's Kadabra. However, there's a bit of a problem with its appearance in Japanese name. Kadabra, in the Japanese name, is Uri Geller. And that name sounds really close to Uri Geller. And Kadabra is the asshole that runs around with the spoon in his hand all the time. So, the reference wasn't lost on Geller. And back in 2000, he essentially sued Nintendo and said, hey, Kadabra cannot be put on any more Pokemon cards. And he sued Nintendo. I don't know what the resolution of that lawsuit was. I think they settled out of court. But he got real pissed that Nintendo was using his name and image despite it being a fucking weird animalistic creature that held a spoon called Kadabra running around. But Pokemon Company more or less honored this request. So Kadabra has not appeared on any Pokemon card for the past 20 years.
Interesting.
Yes. However, recently, Geller finally decided to come out on Twitter and say, hey, I'm going to give up my claim. Nintendo can use this card again. In an email to the gamer, Geller wrote that, quote, due to the tremendous volume of emails I am still getting begging me to allow Nintendo to bring back Kadabra Geller, I sent a letter to the chairman of Nintendo giving them permission to relaunch the Uri Geller Kadabra Geller worldwide. He then said his letter was picked up by 2 Nintendo representatives. Keep in mind, he said all of this while linking to his merchandise store and his website and go check this out and everything like that. So, right there. Let me say right now, Uri Geller is an alleged con artist. This fucker allegedly has been defrauding the naive public since the early 70s. He allegedly claimed that he has real psychic powers gifted through from aliens. I would have less of a problem with it if he just said he was a magician, but he actually claims to have real psychic ability.
Cool.
He allegedly claims to have erased floppy disks from the KGB by chanting the words erase over and over again from the 80s in an effort to get contract work from the government. Allegedly. He has sued other companies such as IKEA for calling one of their furniture lines Yuri. He sued Timex over an ad showing a person bending forks and other items with their hands, but they couldn't bend the Timex watch. And he goes, oh, they're bending forks. That's what I do. Allegedly.
But he does it with his mind. This is somebody doing it with their hands.
This motherfucker, I will say...
If there's like a strongest man competition and someone legitimately bends a spoon, like outside with their bare hands, does he try to sue that person? I
wouldn't be surprised. He's a litigious motherfucker, which is why I keep saying allegedly in front of all this. If
I bend a spoon and then mail it to him, will he sue me?
My biggest problem with this man is that he allegedly just cons people out of hundreds and thousands of dollars of money, claiming that he has psychic ability, and this has allegedly led to the death of people through believing that they can get things like faith healing and shit done. The equivalent of. Allegedly. Ooh. Allegedly, David.
Okay, so my big question. If I Googled this guy a week and a half ago, would I have found anything?
Yeah, probably because of his litigious nature. He's been suing people all the way up until very recently.
Okay, but besides him just constantly suing people, would I find anything that makes him relevant?
No.
In less of a Harmony Gold sense and more of a, I don't know.
You know, Harmony Gold is the perfect way of
powers sense.
No, he still does like appearances every now and then. But I would probably say that he is culturally irrelevant, except for the fact that the story came back in the news recently.
Which is my main point. A man who is irrelevant, besides the fact that he sued Nintendo back in the day, is suddenly back into everyone's minds as he goodwilled allowed Nintendo to use his
while linking to all of his shit.
While trying to sell out. Yeah.
I personally have always had issue with this man, which is why I'm bringing this up right here. And I recommend that people take a look at James Randi's book about him. Who unfortunately, he died recently. But James Randi was... featured multiple times on Penn and Teller's Bullshit, the Showtime show, big idol of those two. And he was a renowned debunker who Uri Geller sued like 3 separate times, and I believe lost all 3 times so badly that he himself, I believe, had to front legal costs because the courts determined all of his lawsuits to be frivolous and spiteful, allegedly.
Okay.
So I personally just have issue against Uri Geller and anyone who claims this kind of bullshit. So that's why I wanted to mention it. I don't want people saying, oh, he's such a good guy. He's let us out Kadabra again. It's like, no, this guy's a fucker.
Yeah, it seems that way. I did a quick peruse of his Wikipedia, and he seems like a tool.
Yeah,
allegedly.
Total tool. Allegedly. Once again, I keep saying allegedly because allegedly he has gone after people even smaller than us in the past. Allegedly.
Smaller than us?
Yes.
Dude, is there anyone smaller than us?
Yeah, there's a few, but not many. But the point is, just do your due diligence on this man and find out that he is actually a scumbag. Fuck this guy. Fuck Uri Geller. I can't say that. Not allegedly. He is just an asshole.
Oh, yeah. You can be mad at anybody. That's fine.
David, speaking of being mad at assholes.
In the big oof story of the week from IGN, the controversial Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia aiming to acquire majority ownership of SNK.
Now,
Yes,
you love SNK.
I do like SNK. I'm a big King of Fighters fan. I like Metal Slug. I like Samurai Showdown. I like SNK quite a bit. And in this story, we'll just get into it. The Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, through his youth-focused MISK charity, has purchased 33.3% of SNK, the developer of King of Fighters, Samurai Showdown, Metal Slug, and more. MISK has announced its intent to buy a total of 51% of shares and take majority ownership. It's a move that's already causing controversy, given that the Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman, I'm assuming, so I say that? I'm not sure.
Mohammed bin Salman. I believe so. I believe you're correct. But by no means am I an expert on, pronunciation.
Has previously been directly implicated in the murder of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi.
Yeah.
Accused of sending an assassination hit squad into Canada.
I'm going to pause things real quick and just ask, who the hell is important enough in Canada to send a hit squad after? Actually, I should probably click the link on this story real quick. Go on. I'll figure this out. Go on.
Yeah, thanks. And is the de facto leader of a country repeatedly lambasted for multiple human rights abuses. If you've never heard of Saudi Arabia, there's lots of stories that they're not nice to people.
No, look it up. Saudi Arabia is kind of fucked up. By the way, that guy that was in Canada was a veteran of the government of Saudi Arabia who fled there in exile.
No.
So yeah.
Well, yeah, they're not good.
This is bad. There's
even unrelated to video games, but Saudi Arabia is also in the news because they're getting a Formula One track next year supposedly, and people are up in arms about that as well.
Yeah, I remember WWE also had an agreement with them or some shit like that.
So lots of people get very, very angry when certain other people get affiliated with Saudi Arabia because
fuck Saudi Arabia. I'll say it.
A lot of reasons that we mentioned. The 33% of shares that were bought for approximately $216 million, valuing the full company at around $648 million. I think this is in pounds. I don't know.
Yeah, the article goes back and forth between dollars and pounds, and it kind of throws me off. By the way, hey there, Junesy. Good to see you in chat.
And announced by the MISC organization today, at the time of this article, the move to acquire an SNK majority is described as a means of empowering Saudi men and women through building economic partnerships as part of the institution's updated strategy to maximize the impact on youth empowerment. MISC has previously worked with SNK on video game and animation projects, creating trading programs for aspiring Saudi game developers.
Here's the thing, David. I don't even know if SNK can actually refuse to sell anything to this guy. Because they're a publicly traded company.
Yeah, that's kind of the issue.
I don't know if they could just say, no, we don't want you buying this. I don't think they can.
If more than 50% of their shares are publicly available, then this can just kind of happen. It's different with things like Epic Games, for example, because who's the Epic Games guy?
Tim Sweeney owns 51% of that company, has openly said he's never going to sell below that.
Exactly. He legit has over half of his company, so no one can buy him out of the majority unless he decided to sell specifically, but they can't sweep it from him. If more than 50% of SNK is available to be publicly traded, then this absolutely can happen, which I think sucks because I don't really want to buy the new King of Fighters game if that means that a bunch of the money is going to go to the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia.
I will. So my stance on stuff like this is you have to take a principled position, and it has to vary case to case to case. For example, I will not say you're fucking up if you just refuse to buy anything from SNK ever again. I will also not say you're fucking up if you go, well, I'm not going to buy this and this and this from SNK, but I will buy King of Fighters. Or if you just say, fuck it, I'm just going to buy whatever I want, I'm also not going to say you're fucking up. Because each one of these decisions, like the Blizzard thing, People boycott Blizzard because of their relations to Tencent or the relation to China or the Hong Kong thing. This has to be made not just at an individual basis, but a game-by-game basis as that. And I bode no ill will to anyone who says, I'm still going to play King of Fighters.
To me, it's crazy because we've talked about the Blizzard thing ad nauseum, right? Yeah. We've gone back and forth on it, and for that, it's not even that Activision Blizzard is like majority owned by Tencent or China or any of those other things. It's that they kind of kneel to.
Yeah, they kowtow to
them. And that's enough to get them called out. This would be a bad group of people legitimately owning the company, which to me feels
that's why I say it needs to be an individual thing and a game-to-game thing on top of that, because every single person out there is going to have their own line. The best that I can do is recommend everyone go out and just learn about Saudi Arabia and their horrible shit that goes on in that country.
And I mean, if they get their shit together, if they're trying to get their shit together, if this dude's trying to change the way everything works over there, good on you, and I will be here when and if you fix it. But I'm not really hanging out in the interim.
Is this going to keep you from buying the new King of Fighters?
Yep.
What if he keeps it at 33%?
I don't know. I honestly don't know how I feel about it, even where it is now.
I'm not like trying to grow you to catch in a gotcha moment. I'm curious. It's back to what I was talking about. We all have our individual lines, and we just have to go, all right, that's it. It's too much.
Well, see, for me, I'm the guy that always makes fun of everybody for not voting with their wallets. And I try to be the guy that actually does. Like, I haven't bought a Blizzard game since all the Hong Kong stuff happened, right? I don't really play or pay any money to their stuff. And I don't think I can touch SNK anymore.
Fair enough. For me, it really does kind of just my love of the game. For example, I thought about playing Genshin Impact there for a hot second just to check it out, and then I found out about their banning of certain words about Hong Kong and Tiananmen Square and stuff like that. And I went, well, that's enough to me to write that off. A game that I only had mild interest in. But I keep going back to the Diablo 4 thing. I love Diablo. I'm still going to be playing Diablo when it comes out.
But see, on that one, it's a little different. Oh no, because you're gonna play the new Diablo. I was thinking like the third one.
No, the new one. But I do have a line, and if they hit that line, that's going to be enough for me to say fuck that. That's where I say it really does vary on the games as well in the situation. You can't just do blanket. Nope, fuck this. They're associated with this and on. Everyone has their own different lines. Everyone has their own different settings, and I'm not going to mock anyone for taking a principled stand on something that they believe in.
Yeah, and I feel like the majority of general gamers aren't going to give a shit either way, right?
It's just, majority of general gamers aren't even going to hear about this.
Yeah, they're just SNK's got a new game. If they like it, they're going to buy it. If they don't, they're not.
We go to PAX if PAX ever opens back up again, and we'll see the massive line of people at the SNK booth, and you'll go, well, you know that so and so at Saudi Arabia assassinated Jamal Khashoggi, and they're going to go, who? Or they're going to go, what's that have to do with SNK? I'm here to buy the game. And that's not even malicious. That's just human nature.
We're here to bring you the news, and this is definitely news. So
I wanted to bring it up.
This is something that we're here to talk about.
David, we got two more news stories I want to hit real quick, both from gamesindustry.biz. First of all, we talk about game closing studios so much. I like to celebrate when one opens up, and it looks like a bunch of Bioware and Ubisoft vets are joining together to create Yellow Brick Games from gamesindustry.biz. A group of industry veterans from the likes of Bioware and Ubisoft have founded the independent studio Yellow Brick Games. Based in Quebec City, Canada, the founding team members include Mike Laidlaw, former creative director of Dragon Age franchise at Bioware. Not the Mike Laidlaw of Valve fame, by the way. Who I think that's actually Mark Laidlaw, but I'm not positive. But I always get their names confused. The creative director of a Dragon Age franchise at Bioware, where he spent 14 years of his career. His most recent experience was a creative director at Ubisoft, which he was only there very briefly before he left. He is joined by Thomas Gros, Jeff Skoski, Frederick St. Laurent B., who collectively have experiences at Ubisoft, Bioware, Electronic Arts, and Activision Blizzard. Yellow Brick Games also said it wants to prioritize a craftsmanship approach with its projects, moving away from the type of AAA structure they have all experience with. From Giro, we want to emphasize a back-to-basics approach centered on the pleasure of crafting new game experiences in a flexible, more personal environment and that an independent studio can provide. End quote. David, we're seeing more and more named game developers just piecing out.
The biggest of the big at like tons of game companies are saying, you know what, screw AAA. I want to go back to making the video games.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a, well, maybe I do mean it in a literal sense, but they just like that old school hands-on, the way things used to be. I feel is the mentality here is that the studios have ballooned so much to you have 500, 600 person
When you
studios
have
like
a
working on
1,000-person
games.
size development team, no vision is going to come across that's not 100% sanitized by a board of directors.
Yeah, and especially if the teams are working in completely remote regions of the globe, right?
Right.
And they're all working on different aspects of the game. Whereas you have a 12-person team working on one game and they're all sitting in a conference room pitching ideas and they reach a consensus and they build the video game, that I think can lead to cooler things. Obviously, you have a lower budget there, so things won't necessarily be as polished. But I mean,
Nah,
if you've
fuck
got
that.
talent, you got talent. So
My
you'll never
favorite
know.
game of the year came out in a year stacked of big names was Return of the Obra Dinn. And that was made by one person with literally a two-tone graphic style.
Yeah, you never know.
So I am jazzed to see smaller studios build up like this, and it shows this there is an increasing. For years, the middle market has been decimated, and we're starting to see it very rapidly get filled back up with THQ Nordic expanding. I did have a story in here earlier about another conglomerate of games starting to get bigger, but I kind of cut it because they weren't quite there yet. But that middle market is filling very quickly, and you're also having more and more of these storied names. Mark Laidlaw, that is a known name in games. He's got one hell of a career. He essentially created Dragon Age. He's pieced out, and he can go to any major company he wants, and instead he's like, nah, fuck that. I'm going to get a couple of my friends, we're going to make some games. You're going to see the age of the budget AAA game and the AAA indie game, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That middle market is going to get filled up real quick, and that is where you really want to pay attention if you want to see innovation in games, if you want to see expert storytelling in games, if you want to see weird shit that you would never, ever see in mainstream stuff. And I am jazzed to see more and more developers getting involved in that space and leaving the bigger publishers behind so they can make whatever vision they have in their head.
Yeah, I'm for it.
We got one final story I want to mention, and it's just a quick one, also GameIndustry.biz. Survey finds gaming in America's over 45 years old has spiked in 2020. For the 2020 Evolution of Entertainment Report, NPD surveyed 5,000 members of its U.S. online panel to ask about gaming habits and found that 79% of U.S. consumers have played video games in the past 6 months, up from the 73% of the last time it ran this survey. Essentially, almost 80% of Americans play video games.
Oh.
That's a lot. At least some sort of video game over the past 6 months.
What's funny is when I first saw that age, I was like, wait, how old's the oldest millennial? They're not
40.
quite there because they're 40. So.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, is it just that millennials hit 45 and that's why gamers are getting over 45?
Not 1980 is the oldest millennial. I am old enough to claim both millennial and Gen X, depending on which one benefits me the most at the time.
Oh, perfect. So you're always Gen X?
Yeah, for the most part. People between the ages of 45 and 54 reported spending 59% more time gaming and 76% more money, while those between 55 to 64 spent 48% more time and 73% more money. David, I attribute that directly to COVID, however.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because everyone's just stuck at home. They can't go out anywhere. They can't go on vacation. Fuck it, let's buy a console and play. Which is also why I think the PlayStation 5 being one of the, I believe, fastest selling console in PlayStation history for certain. They've openly admitted that, but they're not quite giving out numbers with it. I think that's one of the reasons why it sold so well, is because everyone's fucking stuck at home right now.
Well, I mean, like, and Switches sold like crazy.
Yeah, I'd be curious to compare the PlayStation 5 numbers to the Switch numbers. Like, just in Switch's launch compared to PlayStation 5's launch. But Switch has also recently sold as well, too. The point that I'm making is we're going to get to that age where people in power play video games nonstop. And by that, I mean, like, congressmen. Which is when all these weird DMCA laws, like the music streaming, are finally going to start getting changed.
Yeah.
Which will bring the entire show back full circle.
AOC keeps streaming on Twitch. Regardless of what side of the spectrum you're on.
Yeah.
We have a legit person sitting in Congress that streams video games.
That streams on Twitch all the time. Not all the time, but streams on Twitch.
Yep.
That is very true.
That is unprecedented.
I don't know if it's unprecedented. I think the popularity of them are definitely is, but I believe senators and I believe Congress people have been on Twitch before in the past. I think Bernie Sanders actually did it a couple times.
Well, yes, but I'm not saying made an appearance on Twitch. I mean, is playing video games on Twitch.
Okay, I see. Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah. I believe you are correct in that case.
That's more where I was going along with the, gamers are getting older, which means that they're getting old enough to be in politics.
Yeah, you're going to start seeing some rubber hit the road with a lot of these laws sooner than later because of that, though. As the gaming population gets older, you're going to see it start. 1 second, my voice just went.
Yeah, all right.
My throat just got exceedingly dry there for a second. I apologize. And it made me lose my train of thought where I was going with this. But the point is, everyone is gaming at this point.
Yeah, everybody. Time to play video games, everybody.
Yes, and you're going to start seeing updates to all these old, outdated laws sooner, which is why I put this at the end to tie it back to the beginning. David?
Yes.
Before we get into new releases, I want to mention a couple of delays real quick. Two of them real quick. One, Cuphead. The Cuphead DLC for Delicious Last Course has been delayed to an unknown date, straight up because of COVID. They straight up say, hey, COVID screwed us. See it sometime. Also, the MechWarrior 5 DLC, MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries DLC, Heroes of the Sphere, has been delayed to spring 2021, and they straight up said it's because of Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
They're like, we're just getting the fuck out of the way.
I just think it's funny because we've been excited about the people that are honest, and we're bummed that there's so many of them, right? Because we do want to see some smaller games release at some point during the month of December.
Yeah.
But every time somebody's more and more close to just admitting it, we're excited. Like, due to upcoming releases or due to conflicting schedules, and these guys they're just like, no guys, Cyberpunk is out and we don't want any part of that.
Who was the game the game that straight up said we will get murdered if we go up against Cyberpunk, so we're going until next year?
I think it was Everspace.
I think you're right. In fact, it was Everspace too.
Because they're like, right. We have a lot of crossover with our fans and the people that are going to play Cyberpunk, and that includes our own developers, so we're pushing the damn game.
Yeah. I appreciate honesty in press releases. That's really all I want.
Yeah.
David, it's going to be a while before we get to play any of this stuff, and Cyberpunk comes out next week as well, but that still gives us time this week to have to kill those precious hours. We have to waste as much time as humanly possible to keep ourselves occupied till Cyberpunk finally drops. So what can I do to waste those hours?
Okay, new releases. I do have some new releases for you, but actually, really quick before that, I wanted to touch on something because we kind of skipped over it during our intro today.
Okay.
But I wanted to give you some more thoughts on the Xbox because I've played around with the new Xbox a bit more, the Series X.
All right.
And it looks good, games work, but the thing I want to talk about specifically is Quick Resume is fucking bonkers.
I was wondering if that's what you were going to bring up when you started talking about this.
Holy shit, that is a game changer. I was playing a game the other day, and I just turned the system off. I just paused my game, turned the system off, went to bed or whatever. And my spouse played a game this morning. So when I came home, I turned on the system, logged into my profile, clicked on the game, and within like 4 seconds, I was back exactly where I left off.
Yes, I have heard amazing stories about the Quick Resume, and I wish PlayStation 5 had something like it.
It is faster than I thought, because it's the kind of thing where I sit down, I went to load the game, I clicked on the icon on the main menu, and I grabbed my phone to doom scroll until the game load, and I was in the game before I even scrolling.
That's an appropriate name.
Anyway, I just wanted to shout that out because it
is as fast as changing the input on your TV.
Yeah, it's a lot cooler than I thought it was going to be, and I think it will be kind of a game changer, especially if you're in a household with a lot of different users of your game console. Man. I was thinking parents have a bunch of different kids that are playing games. It might be cool.
For sure.
But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about new releases, because the one thing that system seriously lacks is new releases, at least ones that are exclusive to that system. But we do have a couple things coming out. First up on the list, we've got Chronos Before the Ashes, out for Xbox, PC, and PlayStation. This is a Souls-like adventure game, atmospheric RPG that chronicles a hero's lifelong quest to save their homeland from a great evil. At this point, I'm just giving up, and I'm calling a Souls-like a Souls-like. If you don't know what that is, Dark Souls, and some other games. Bloodborne, Sekiro are a series of games from Software that evoke a very kind of not necessarily graphic style, but gameplay style with like weighted attacks, and it's kind of strategic, and it's pretty damn difficult.
You know it when you see it.
And it's been aped almost to death, and it is what it is. This one looks good enough. Maybe it's fun. I don't know. I can't tell. I'm actually going to jump ahead because there's a second Souls-like out this week, because of course there is. But Morbid, the Seven Acolytes out for this week for PC, is an action RPG. But this is a Lovecraftian Souls-like.
I am playing this tomorrow, actually. The PR team was kind enough to send me a code for this, and I'll be starting up tomorrow around 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time right here at twitch.tv/GamePoints.
Yep. Of the two, I figured that would be the one that you're more interested in, since you're a Lovecraft buff, so I wanted to throw that one out really quick. Empire Sin, also out this week for Xbox, PlayStation, PC, and Switch. This is the new Paradox Interactive strategy RPG.
Yeah, it plays like mob. It's bootlegger XCOM, and I'm real upset that apparently it is a buggy, glitchy mess.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it's like at a 60 or 40% approval on Steam right now.
Damn, that sucks.
And I'm real upset because this looked amazing.
Sounds really cool. 1920s Prohibition era Chicago with strategy RPG action. I'm all about it. Also out this week, Twin Mirror hits Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. This from the folks at Don't Nod, which I think you've played a few of their games, haven't you?
Don't Nod are the guys that do Life is Strange, but I also believe they did Vampire and Remember Me. No, Remember Me did. God damn, I can't remember if they did Remember Me or not, but they definitely did Life is Strange.
Mm-hmm. So this is another narrative adventure game. So from that Life is Strange and Captain Underpants and whatever that other.
Yeah, Don't Nod did do Remember Me and Vampire as well. Couldn't remember. And The Adventure of Captain Spirit is the other name you're thinking of.
I couldn't remember his name. But yeah, so they've got another story. I don't want to call it a walking sim, but you know what I'm talking about. Visually narrative game. Haven out this week for Xbox, PC, and PlayStation. This is an RPG, story-rich that, man, I kind of want to be a dick about this, but artistically, it's Genshin-like. I'm going to do that because I feel like it's main to every other game that's also cel-shaded.
I really want to play this because this is the same people that made Fury.
No, this game looks pretty cool. It's about two people who are stuck on like a lost planet together, and you're going through this weird fragmented world, and you're fighting what's trying to basically eat you alive, and it's a full RPG adventure about love and rebellion and freedom and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, this actually looks amazing, and if you have not played Fury, god damn, is that so good.
But stylistically, like I said, I'm going to call it a Genshin-like because I'm an asshole.
Yeah, fair enough.
Also out this week, Immortals: Phoenix Rising, a game that once
also
had
a Genshin-like.
A game that had a much better name before Monster Energy attacked.
Yeah. I've been playing this game. Ubisoft was kind enough to send me an early access code. You can find a bunch of videos on demand on the channel down below. I've been playing it since Friday. I really like this game.
Yep. This is on Xbox, PC, PlayStation, Switch. Switch is the surprise one for me, but I'm sure it's awesome. We'll see.
It shouldn't be, because this game apes Breath of the Wild harder than I've seen anything else do so far. But fair. I will say this. I love it more than Breath of the Wild.
Of the three big Ubisoft open world adventure games that are out or coming out, this is the one that I am most interested in. Just like Assassin's Creed looked cool, but I've played a lot of Assassin's Creed. Like I played the last one, so I don't know that I need this one, right?
Fair enough. If it is, so here's the thing.
And Watch Dogs Legion doesn't super appeal to me, and so this one I think, both based on like the content story wise, like the lore of it is more interesting, and it's still an open world game, but it's not one of those two that I've played recently.
So I mentioned that I like this better than Breath of the Wild, but I like that solely because it doesn't have weapon degradation. So as far as I'm concerned, it's immediately better because I've actually put more time into this than I did Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
If you want my honest opinion on the game, like that aside, I think it is a solid game. I'm having a lot of fun with it. It is ultimately going to be forgettable because there's nothing really standoutness to it. I love the concept of the dueling narrators. There are two narrators in the game, Prometheus and Zeus, and they talk over the events, constantly bickering back and forth. And there are some things like there was like this boss fight that actually changed during the setup as they were talking about it. Like, for example, Prometheus goes, and then so-and-so came to fight this ogre. And then Zeus is like, you're not selling it hard enough. It was a giant, terrible thing. And as he's doing that, the ogre just gets bigger and bigger and more distracting. And then Prometheus goes, oh yeah, well, fuck you. It was actually this tiny little adorable thing, and he shrinks it down. And, like, it changes as they're talking about it. So I appreciate the lightheartedness to it. I think the combat is not that deep, but still fun to go through. It is a Breath of the Wild to me without weapon durability, which immediately makes it better than Breath of the Wild in my book for the things that we have gone on. And at the end of the day, will be ultimately forgettable. In a month from now, I won't remember this game exists, unfortunately, because it doesn't really do anything super standout. And as I'm playing through it, while I keep comparing it to Breath of the Wild, it's as if Breath of the Wild was designed by Ubisoft. Because I keep seeing Ubisoft shit all through this game, including the climb this point and look around and take the survey of the entire area, and then here's like 20,000 fucking collectibles everywhere.
Man,
I'm 10 hours into it and I haven't even left the first island. So, yeah, there's a lot of good to this game, but if you just cannot stand that Ubisoft open world formula, you might want to stay away from it.
That's fair enough. I've just been playing a lot of Hades, so I'm kind of down for more Greek mythology.
It definitely has that. I definitely like, and they get kind of deep in some Greek mythology too. They talk about like Psyche and all kinds of stuff. Adonis.
Cool. Anyway, I think we've given mortals more than enough time. But shout out for Ubisoft for having a new IP. That's good enough. Per Aspira comes out this week for PC. This is a colony sim, city builder. Overcome near impossible odds to terraform Mars, cultivate the red planet's hidden resources, and unravel the past mysteries of those who've attempted the unbelievable feat.
Really excited for this.
Rests on your shoulders. This game looks great. I want to play this game. I'm sure you're already planning on playing this game.
It's going to be streamed sometime this week. I'm in the process of seeing if I can't get it.
Blah, blah, blah. You're going to play it, but I want to play it. So let's talk about that. Also this week, Dragon Quest XI S, Echoes of an Elusive Age, Definitive Edition. Xbox, PC, PlayStation. It's Dragon Quest XI, more or less again, right? Dragon Quest XI S, Echoes of Elusive, Definitive. It's just more words for. It's the final edition of Dragon Quest XI now available.
It's the Square Enix naming convention applied to the Definitive Edition. That's all it is.
If you don't like Dragon Quest, this won't change your mind. If you do like Dragon Quest, you probably already bought this game 3 times. You might as well get it this time too.
Part of me wants to get this because I have been craving like an actual old school JRPG found on for Nintendo, and Dragon Quest never really deviated from that formula. Whereas Final Fantasy evolved over the year, Dragon Quest has been remarkably consistent.
Yeah, Final Fantasy hasn't been an RPG since 10.
Yeah, I see what you mean by that. I don't know if I agree, but I see what you mean.
Yeah. I mean, it has not been a traditional JRPG since 10. How's that? Does that sit with you better?
Yeah, a little bit.
Don't be coming at me and trying to tell me that the fucking Gambit system is a traditional.
By all means, Dark Sage, ask your question. We'll see if we can't answer it while David goes on with new releases.
Also this week, Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light hits Switch this week. Man, I want to play Fire Emblem on other systems, but you can't. You can play it on Switch. This is like the remake of the original 8-bit like old school games, right?
I hesitate to even call it a remake because they didn't really do anything. It's just better graphics.
This is the NES
remaster, I guess.
This is the NES Fire Emblem game. This is the game that Marth comes from.
Yes. And in fact, the announcement trailer for this,
but this is a Marth game.
The announcement trailer for this, when they first mentioned it a few months back, even kind of teases the whole like, you don't know where Marth comes from, blah blah blah, and then here it is.
Yep. So there you go, a classic Smash Brothers character, original appearance out this week on Switch. El Hijo, a Wild West Tale, hits this week for PC. This is a spaghetti western stealth game, which is one of my favorite series of words to say in a row. Strategy adventure game. I don't know. I think this game looks pretty cool. You're guiding a 6-year-old boy on his quest to find his mother, which doesn't sound that exciting, but I don't know. You got spaghetti western in there.
Yeah, if it was an actual Western, this kid would be dead in the first 20 minutes.
I know. Visually, it looks pretty interesting. I think I really like the art style, the way this looks. It's got like the people don't really have faces, kind of isometric looking, but I don't know. I think it could be cool.
I have heard good things about this game, and it does look cool, but it's just not my genre. I will answer that in 2 seconds there, Dark Sage, as we wrap up new releases, and we'll ask that question before we go.
I'll lightning run it. We have Project Wingman hitting PC. I'm assuming you've already bought this game.
Yeah, this is Ace Combat.
Yeah, a flight action game lets you take the seat of an advanced fighter jet and become a true ace. It looks like a PC version of Ace Combat. If that does not strike you and you're not an Ace Combat fan, then this I don't think is going to convince you. But if you're desperate to play Ace Combat on your computer, then you probably already bought this, like Steven did. And last but not least, Worms Rumble hits PC, PS4, and PS5. I guess I could have just said the PlayStations, like I've been saying all day. Like you've never played it before, with intense real-time, arena-based, 32-player cross-platform combat. This sounds like a flippin' riot. I haven't played a Worms game in so long, but I remember loving them back in the day. You know, dude, I have Worms Armageddon on CD-ROM somewhere. And they're just simple, fun
was never a Worms guy.
Really? You never got into it?
Just not for me. David, thank you very much for new releases. Now, we have one question for the chat that I want to answer. It's a little bit of a long one, but let me read it out loud, and I want to give our opinion. Let's give our opinions on it. So thank you very much, Dark Sage, for asking this. I know The Witcher 3 is regarded as the gold standard of gaming today. It is one of the best RPGs of all time, but I remember a time when Mass Effect 2 was the gold standard in gaming. It was, for a time, a game that revolutionized the industry. My question is, which game had the bigger impact on the game industry as a whole? Mass Effect 2 or Witcher 3? So, let me start off with this and saying, I don't think Mass Effect 2 ever revolutionized the industry. I think that it was rightfully praised by both fans and critics alike, but it didn't have a massive impact on things the way Witcher 3 did. Because when Witcher 3 came out, you actively started having Witcher 3 clones popping up all over the fucking place. And specifically, when you compare Witcher 3 to its contemporary RPG competition at the time, Fallout 4, it put Fallout 4 to shame. Mass Effect 2 really didn't have that at the time. That's my opinion. David?
So what I was going to say is that I don't know that either of them like definitively changed the industry in the scale of some other games. Like, while both games are good, I wouldn't put them against like Half-Life for being revolutionary, right? Remember when first-person shooters just didn't have a storyline?
I see what you mean by scale. So, for example, if we're talking scale, The Witcher 3 doesn't come close to things like, say, Metal Gear Solid, which really brought the stealth genre up front. It doesn't come close to the original Final Fantasy that introduced RPG to America, or Grand Theft Auto.
And that's my point. Like, I'm not trying to belittle either game because I think they're both great, but I like Witcher 3 didn't invent the open world genre, and Mass Effect 2 didn't like reinvent the RPG genre.
But which had the bigger impact?
They took an existing formula and they iterated it to great success, and I do think that you can kind of make your point of which game had more copycats, because that tends to be the one that lingers, right? So I think it probably is The Witcher, because you can probably find more Witcher systems in other games that released a year, 2 years, 3 years after it, whereas Mass Effect 2 was most aped by Mass Effect 3.
Yeah, and I say this as someone who thinks Mass Effect 2 was the better game of the two, by the way, because Mass Effect 2 is in my like easily top 10 games of all time. Like, with a fucking bullet, it's in there. Witcher 3 doesn't quite hit that, but I think The Witcher 3 had a bigger impact overall for gaming.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, we gotta answer the question the way it was asked, right? So we're not picking our favorite game or which one was the more popular or sold better, but the bigger impact, I think I'm with you. I think it's going to be The Witcher, just for the games at least immediately after it.
I agree.
It's the same thing we got with the I guess the MOBA effect, the Battle Royale effect, the insert game type here that's aped for the next 2 years effect. But whereas we had a lot of open world third-person combat games come out.
If we look at the list of just revolutionary games of all time, I don't think The Witcher cracks into the top 20 because you have to compare it up to the likes of like the original Mario, Tetris, Half-Life, GoldenEye on the 64, StarCraft,
Halo.
Yeah, The Witcher 3, while a great game, it was not a. It didn't like capture the zeitgeist of gaming the way any of those did. It did for a little bit. That everyone was talking about for a while, but it doesn't stand up to like GTA for God's sake. Grand Theft Auto 3 specifically, which made everyone go, "Hold!" Like Grand Theft Auto 3 created the open world genre.
And well, I was gonna say, and Grand Theft Auto 5 ruined DLC forever with shark cards and the fact that every single game now has microtransactions.
Still huge impact. Grand Theft Auto 5 Online, one of the biggest impacts ever in gaming. So that's if you compare Mass Effect 2 to Witcher 3, I think Witcher 3 had the biggest impact. If you compare the industry as a whole, I don't think The Witcher 3 even penetrates the top 20. But thank you very much for that question there, Dark Sage.
Although I got an addendum question for you though.
Okay.
So you already mentioned that of the two, Mass Effect 2 was the game that made a bigger impact on you yourself, and is the game that you liked more. However, if you were to right this second go back and play one of the two in their current forms, which one would it be?
Mass Effect 2 right now.
You could play it pre remaster.
I don't even have to think about it.
All right.
This is taking out like time consideration and everything else. Just what had the most like emotional impact, the most fun with. Mass Effect 2, hands down. Now I love The Witcher 3. I put 170 hours into The Witcher 3, and that doesn't even count the DLCs. But Mass Effect 2, just God damn, that fired on all cylinders for me. It's like BioShock for me. Just it was. It's I have like this list of games that like mean a lot to me. BioShock, the original BioShock's one of them.
System Shock 2.
System Shock 2 is another one. Mass Effect, Baldur's Gate 2, Half-Life is actually one of them. The Witcher 3 is not on that list. Once again, that's not to say that it's not a great game.
Quick question: is Snake Eater on the list?
No.
Oh,
it's not. Sorry. Hey, this list is individual to everyone.
I know it's your list. I'm just asking.
Yeah, Snake Eater is not on that list. It would be high up there, but it's not quite. If we were talking about like just emotion stuff as a whole, I would put Metal Gear Solid 4 above Metal Gear Solid 3.
Oh, dude, when fucking Big Boss had a name in the credits,
yeah,
I lost my shit. Yeah. So I'll give you that one. That's a good one.
Like there are more memorable moments in Metal Gear Solid 4 for me than there were in Metal Gear Solid 3. Because the one that stands out above all else, let's ignore the ending because that whole 2-hour movie was great. But the one that stands out most to me is just seeing Snake or Liquid Snake standing there on that pontoon boat, and then he does the finger guns, and then he just starts shooting shit out the sky.
See, I think that we don't need to talk about Metal Gear. That's a whole other conversation. We're doing a whole other thing. I think we answered the question. The show's running a little long.
Yeah, thank you very much for that question, The Dark Sage. I do appreciate it. And you guys can also ask whatever questions you want as well. We will try to get to them on the next
and if
show.
you have a burning question that you need us to answer, either offline or during the show, feel free to drop us a line on our Discord.
Absolutely. Link provided down below, regardless of where you're watching this at. David, this has been GamePoints episode 242. Thank you all for showing up. If you like what you saw here and you want to support the stream, you guys know what streamers want. Follows and notifications turned on, bits, subs, all that good stuff. I will be streaming tomorrow the Morbid and the 7 Acolytes and Per Aspera later on in the week. You can, of course, join the Discord, too. You can follow the show at GamePoints PC on Twitter, myself at CapitalistPig21, and David there at PowShife_Satori. Thank you all for showing up. You all stay safe out there. Until next time, we're out of here.